Everyone, welcome back to the channel. I look like crap right now because I just did a 20-hour travel session going from the West Coast to Seoul, South Korea. So I'm a little tired, but it's good to be back in the country. Just want to sit down and chat now that I had a second before I caught some shut-eye. I'm here for like a month or two on a work trip. I got some work stuff to wrap up with the company I'm working with. And, I was excited to come. I did a stint basically almost the first 4 or 5 months this year in Korea. And, I was excited to come back, but I wasn't like overtly thrilled or whatever. I'm just like, okay, it'll be cool to come back to Korea. Being back here, it's a refreshing place. And when I did Korea the first time and I came back to the US, I just realized how much money you lose like every day as an average American. It's pretty crazy. And this isn't scripted. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head here, but I did the airport. I went to the airport and I dropped like $60 just getting some snacks and some water at the airport. And I'm just like, this is stupid. Like, I hate this. I want out of this. I don't like it. But then I arrive in Korea and I get to my hotel and, everything like Uber rides and everything. My Uber ride ended up being 2 hours long because this is the week of their Thanksgiving, essentially. It's called Chuseok, and it's like their Thanksgiving, and it's like a week-long break, or it's almost like a week and a half. It's long. It's a long holiday, and a lot of businesses are off. People take a lot of time off, and they travel back to their home towns. Imagine if we did that in the US, right? Your benevolent corporate overlords would certainly allow a week and a half break. Yeah, right. So that's what's going on. So the traffic was madness, but for 2 hour Uber drive, it was about $30. It was about 50,000-60,000 Korean won, so maybe 35, 40 bucks, which that would have cost me a small fortune in the US. When I got here and I went to a restaurant, I got an awesome bowl of, it's called a pot bowl or top bowl. Here in Korea, it's a chain. They got like 10 or 11 restaurants here in Seoul. It's just some really good steak with eggs and rice, and that cost me like $12, right? A Chipotle bowl is like the Mendoza line, right? Like if you can get amazing value, then for less than a Chipotle bowl in the US, you're killing it, right? And so that cost me 12 or 13 bucks. I went to the convenience store, I got these really cool, these probably aren't the best thing for me, these ABC snacks here that I absolutely love and I eat all the time when I'm in Korea. But like, I got some really healthy food. I feel like my body's like, oh, finally food, not pumped with garbage in it. Like, it's just very exciting. But anyways, like when I landed and then I got off the plane, there was a new security checkpoint though. So the whole trip took me way longer than I thought it was going to. But I'm actually not that tired. I've been up for 20, 21 hours. The more I do this 12, 13 hour flight, the easier it gets each time. So, as soon as we started driving out of Incheon and I started seeing Korea and I started seeing the Korean letters and stuff, I don't know, I just had a big smile on my face, and I can't explain it other than Korea just reminds me of a different time when I was younger in the US, like the 2000s or something, when things were not as weird and messed up and crazy. Things weren't ridiculously expensive. Korea has its issues, I'm not gonna lie, and I'll talk about more, I'm gonna do a bunch of videos here about Korea coming up here pretty soon, and the country's got problems, but the country has a lot of great things going for it. And one of those things is the culture isn't whacked out like the US is in terms of being really kind of over the top with a lot of the gender stuff and things like that. I'm not going to elaborate on that too much, but if you're a Christian guy, you probably can understand what I'm talking about. There's none of that here. So you get like a woke-free experience in Korea, I would say, which is really nice, unless you go to really specific spots in Seoul and the universities. Other than that, you're going to avoid it completely. Cost of living, just me being able to go out to eat and stuff like that. Rent is kind of high in Seoul. That's one of the big drawbacks, I would say. But if rent's like a big problem for you, just go to Busan. It's like half the price there. Everything's like half the price there compared to Seoul. But I'm in like downtown hub of Seoul, and I'm gonna show you guys my Airbnb coming up and what my budget looks like living in Korea, and kind of break that down for you guys so you guys can get an idea of like what it's like to actually kind of live in this country as like a Western Christian dude, and like my experience. I'll talk more about dating because I have some pretty extensive experience with that as well. Not looking to do too much of that here on such a short trip, but just me being able to go out to eat without feeling like I'm going to spend a small fortune to get some quality food, being able to get groceries without feeling like you're gonna spend too much money. And right now the US dollar is really, really strong in Korea right now, guys. It's like 1,400 or 1,450 Korean won per $1 US. when the typical used to be like 1,000 Korean won to $1 US. So the US dollar is particularly strong right now in Korea. And the cost of a lot of things that make life fun and interesting for me are pretty cheap here. I think rent being the one sort of drawback, the one that's like not as good. But you can find really quality places. Like for example, I had an apartment the first time I came here for about 3 months. It cost like it was $800 a month. It was a studio, but it was a really high quality new studio, really modern amenities, washer and dryer in a really great facility. So it's like, if you don't have the budget and you really want to cut back, you can find a place. It's going to be small. Okay. You're in Asia, you're in East Asia. Okay. You're not going to find lavish places unless you're willing to spend a little bit more money. Like I did on this trip. I spent a little more money on rent than I usually would because I wanted more space. Less space for me over time just drives me nuts. So I need the open space. But you can find stuff for less than $1,000 a month. And then all your other expenses, because Ubers are cheap, food is cheap. And I mean, everything else is just, compared to American standards, is really, really cheap. Electronics are super cheap. That's one of the big differences between like Southeast Asia or Latin America, where like those high-end electronic goods are crazy expensive. Seoul, like Korea, like all that stuff is dirt cheap. And so that's really nice. You can find almost anything you need Western standard wise for cheaper here in Korea, which just brings your cost of living down just like substantially, which is really, really awesome. I always enjoy that. The food quality is really, really good. When you go out to eat, the service is impeccable. This is the safest mega city in the world. So I never feel unsafe. I was walking around 9 p.m. at some random city center. I'm going to do some tours of like the areas that are the dangerous areas of Seoul, which really aren't dangerous and are more safe than like small town America, actually, like on paper. So that's really interesting. But this is like I feel safer here than the US, to be honest. And those facts come out to be true on paper as well. So that feeling is warranted. Not to mention just like, for you guys into the dating stuff, just hot women walking around everywhere. Like, I'm not lying about that. Like, I think they did a recent ranking, like Korean women ranked like 1 of the most attractive women. And that is a lot of subjectivity to that. And I'm not saying like I even agree with that list, but that just kind of shows you that like, the beauty standards are high here, and it's good for dating. That's all I'm gonna say. Like the average quality of the attractiveness of the women here are very, very strong. So, and the number of Protestant Christian, specifically Protestant for this region, Protestant Christian attractive women is a high concentration for this city. So something to consider in terms of this whole Boundless Disciple message. This is why I've been pushing Korea for a little while, or just trying to open you guys up to it, because it's an option people don't talk about a lot. It's still really low cost. It's not Southeast Asia or Latin America cheap, but it's close. It's, it's probably 25 to 30% more expensive than those places. But like, you get a lot of added benefits. You get a lot of bang for your buck for that extra money spent. And then not to mention like just a really solid culture to be in, a really stable society, really efficiently ran society, more efficient than the US in my opinion. And like, if you're willing to learn a bit of the language and adapt culturally, like a really, really good, strong dating pool. Like, there's just not a lot of downsides to Korea right now. Not a lot of foreigners. If you go to some places like Hongdae or Itaewon or Myeongdong, yeah, you'll find foreigners there, but not like where I'm at here. I'm in a central district of Seoul. It's on the southern side of the Han River. There are no, I never see foreigners like like ever. Like maybe occasionally some people from like East Asia, or some people from like the Middle East, like India and places like that. But they're usually here for work and things like that. Not a lot of like Western just dudes or expats chilling here, especially younger expats. Not a very common place. So this is an untapped place. It's an untapped place for Christian guys. Low cost of living, great infrastructure, super ultra safe, high trust society. If you've never lived in a high trust society, I wouldn't consider the US really a high trust society anymore. If you haven't lived in a high trust society, the ability to learn what it's like to live in a high trust society, and then like a really high quality dating market. So, I'm going to keep talking about South Korea, until I pack up and I head to Latin America next year and we kind of evaluate that situation. But You know, I don't know if this is my permanent resting spot, but I've had a lot of time here. There's a lot of upsides to it for sure. I think for some guys who are really into the East Asian, like if you're a Christian guy and you've always thought Japan was cool, but you know that like Japan is not a very Christian country. They're not very open to foreigners there. The language is very hard to learn. Look into Korea if you're into that thing there. You know, maybe you're a Protestant guy and you don't want to go to the Philippines because it's heavily Catholic. Look into South Korea. That's all I would say about that one. So this is just a little, my thoughts. You know, I'm not actually that tired. I had the whole road to myself on the plane, by the way. Like I was in Comfort Plus on Delta. I had like the other 2 seats. I just basically laid down and napped and watched some YouTube, watched some Netflix. Watching a lot of Colombian Netflix shows, trying to learn get my Spanish up to the best possible level. It's also for my job as well. But my Spanish is fairly okay, but I really want to be at a high level. I need to be for my job, and then also just for living in Latin America next year. So that's what I did on the plane. And I just thought about things to talk about as I felt more enthusiastic about being here for the next like 6-7 weeks than I thought I would. And I shared the reasons why. Think about that. There's just an energy to this place. There's just a peace and tranquility to this place that I can't really explain. And I'd encourage you guys to check it out and take like an exploratory trip if you haven't done so already. I also have in the description a free 6-step video course. It's 100% free, which kind of outlines, like, it's called Going from Nothing to Thriving in 30 Days Abroad as a Christian Man. And it's just kind of like mapping out how you could set up a life abroad, whether it's living fully or temporarily, taking an exploratory trip, to start thinking about that to improve your life outcomes and your circumstances. So if you're interested in that, go to the description down below. It's 100% free. Just check it out. It's all the lessons I've learned from living abroad and dating abroad, and my thoughts on all that compiled together for Christian men. It's not generic expat advice. It's not secular expat tourism advice. It's targeted to you guys specifically. So go check that out in the description down below. And I got a lot of great stuff coming, and I'll see you guys in the next video.